There's grass in Plateau. There's grass in Nasarawa. There's grass in Cross River. There's grass in Enugu. There's grass in Kogi. You could go to those states. And if you want to move around freely, because their laws there are slightly different from our own. Kogi has a law. It's a slight version. There are many states in the country now that have adopted a law. Some say you cannot graze in the night. In Benue State, it's both day and night. At any point in time, it is illegal. We just do open grazing. So that's why it's very necessary to let Nigerians know that the law is not indiscriminate and the law is not aggressively against any particular person. As I told you, outside where we are seated recording, all the people that have goats and sheep and rams around this area, all of them are tied to stakes. They don't wander openly, and they feed them in their compounds. They get grass, get leaves, bring it into the compound. And if they want the animals to feed from different grass and different leaves, they move it out and tie it up there and keep somebody watching. Within a few meters away from my place where we are right now, there are people who are growing their cows. This is an urban area, and they have cows, and they are Benue State citizens. So we obey the law, and we expect that any other person from any part of the world, if you are a white man, you come from New York, you want to grow your cows in Benue State, then just simply ask permission to build a ranch. It's as simple as that. So, power to arrest and detain. It shall be lawful for the task force, with or without the assistance of the security agencies, to arrest and detain any person or group of persons engaged in open grazing and other acts prohibited by the provisions of this law. Such persons shall be handed over to the police or other security agencies immediately. So we are not taking the laws into our hands. You are arrested, you are handed over. That's why I say every movement of any of the agencies in charge of this law in Benue State is directly responsible to the Commissioner of Police. It's not outside their purview. The period of detention by the task force and the security agencies of such arrested persons shall not be more than 48 hours, which is normal under our laws in Nigeria. Nobody keeps you, and your arrest is immediately communicated. So nobody is arrested, and the issue of arrest is kept secret. The arrest is immediately communicated to all the persons concerned, including and particularly the Commissioner of Police. So nobody, no livestock owner can say he's arrested and the Commissioner of Police doesn't know. It's not possible. So that all the laws applicable to arrest in Nigeria are applied to such a person. Then we have indemnity of officials. This is to show that officials that go out to act on behalf of the state government and the people of Benue State on this law are not treated as if they are coming as individuals. I know some persons believe that members of the task force go out and pick up cows to go and slaughter and eat. Those ones are criminals. They are not members of the task force. Anybody who goes and arrests a cow and slaughters a cow to eat or to sell is not a member of the task force, because that's not part of their work. Criminally minded people can wear uniform, just like we see in the Nigerian army. There are people who want to commit armed robbery on the highway. They wear police uniform and they wear the army uniform. People even come into your house to arrest you and they claim they are DSS. They show you a fake ID card and they pick you up. At the end of the day, you discover they are not DSS. So the thing is, those who are doing their job properly as officials to enforce this law always have their cover, and the law knows them, and whatever they do is authorized under this law. You can't sue them in their private capacity. Then we go to section 31, which is the annual report. And this lets people know that the law is a highly transparent legislation. All the operations are documented. This aspect of arresting livestock, every fine that is paid is recorded. All the fines are recorded, and every year there is an annual report. The people do a report so that we know how much is being...
Has any of the reports being published since the enactment of this law?
Of course, it's with the headquarters of the task force. It's there. Because, because the law is there and the House of Assembly is performing their oversight functions, you cannot just ignore. And that's why you see a lot of people say that a good part of the law has not yet been put in motion. A lot about community mobilization is not yet in place. A lot about education is not yet in place. A lot about the livestock propagation program that is supposed to get every household in Benue State to own livestock is not yet moving. Bringing the youths into the issue of the livestock industry is not yet moving. Improving services, veterinary services, educational services, rural infrastructure services for livestock farmers has not yet been put in motion. So it's there, right there. Outside, that is a section. Okay.
At the end, we can now talk about those things.
Okay. So that is it. Annual reports are made, and is to make sure that the Commissioner of Agriculture briefs Benue State to say this is how far we have gone with the law. As I told you, the law is novel. We are the first state to have a comprehensive law on livestock management like that, which opens up the space. A lot of people think we are closing the space for livestock management. No. Instead, we are actually opening up the space so that whoever is interested comes into livestock management with a full cover. Your security is covered. The whole industry is open. You are protected. And you are also told to protect other people. So mutual benefits are guaranteed. Section 32, the Local Government Advisory Committee. Again, it shows that the powers devolve. It comes from the bottom right to the top with the governor. Now it moves from the top of the governor going right down to the local government level. Every local government has an advisory committee. In order that the department may have the benefit of the full information and advice concerning the physical, economic, and other local conditions in ranches in the state, there shall be a local government advisory committee for each local government area. Because the local governments vary. You have been to Agatu and Kwande. The situation in Agatu is not the same as Makodi. The situation in Makodi is not the same as Guma. Guma and Kwande, Agatu, have one of the worst impacts of the herdsmen terrorism that we have experienced in Benue State. If you go to Ohimini, the impact is not as much. If you are in Otukpo, it's not as much. Uju is not as much. Now, Abba is a little much lower than that of Agatu. When they hit Agatu, Agatu people go to Abba as a IDP. So you find that each local government have their peculiarities. As I also mentioned, Abba local government has had a long history of coexistence with the Fulanis. The same thing with Agatu, the same thing with Kwande, the same thing with Guma. But in the case of Guma, a lot of violence came because Guma is on the boundary. Guma shares boundaries with other states. So the cross-boundary migration of the herders has given Benue State a lot of trouble. So if you are in Guma, if you are a local government chairman in Guma, security is your number one thing every morning, Monday to Monday. And it's different, for instance, for the person that is the chairman of Otukpo local government. Otukpo has a different set of security problems, which is mostly cultism, child kidnapping, and other kinds of problems like that. So there is a local aspect of the attention to this law. So every local government has an advisory committee. Each committee shall consist of not less than 8 members and shall meet at least twice annually at a time to be fixed by the department and such times as it may be expedient. And you can see that the meetings are for mostly review because the daily functions are already covered by the department and by the livestock guards. So each time there needs to be a review, and as I told you, all the stakeholders are brought in, all the chiefs are brought in, all the leaders of the herdsmen associations, because the herdsmen are very well formed into associations, except the ones that are criminal, that are like free rolling canoes. They don't belong to anybody. They come in at will and they go out at will, so they don't know. But those that are resident, that have been there for a long time, they are known in the communities. And when the communities meet, they are always there. The committee shall offer advice and make recommendations, provided that that in no case shall any committee member participate in any advice or recommendation concerning a permit or an application thereof in which he is directly or indirectly interested. That is now to remove the aspect of corruption. If you have a direct interest, they keep you away so that you don't influence the judgment of whether land should be allocated or land should not be allocated. Then the committee shall offer advice or make recommendations concerning rules and regulations for the administration of this law, the establishment of ranches, the modification of the boundaries thereof, and any other matter affecting the administration of this law within the area. It's the moment a ranch is established, boundary adjustments are done at the local level. And you see, the local governments are more directly involved as far as the actual physical siting of the ranches are concerned. So they have a lot more work to do than the governor. Every local government chairman must ensure that the boundary of the ranch is not trespassing or encroaching into any other person's property. If the property is already properly acquired.